well, the bandages of the Barca soccer players. Quite a topic, right? Quite a topic. I'm going to read things so you can draw your own conclusions. And these are not things people are making up. They are things that are there. Footballgate.com has made a thread of tweets, which is very interesting. It just so happens, welcome to Madrid fans, I haven't said anything. By the way, check out the previous video, which is the chat with Kike Recio talking about the Mbappe topic and opening that can of worms. The chat is very interesting. I'll put it on one of these two sides when this video ends. And I was going to say that in Madrid, let's remember a player with a bandaged wrist that reaches the rest of the hand, well, only Benzema, because I can't remember another one like that off the top of my head lately. And Benzema was, because he had his finger, it was bent, he had broken it. And due to a matter of ritual and superstition, he said, well, I won't have surgery because it's going well with it bandaged. Done. It's because when you go with this, the Barca fans bring that up and you say, hey, it's just one and it's justified, it's explained. But in the case of the Barca players, we don't know why. We don't know why there are a few bandaged up, and we'll soon review images here. Before anything else, I want to show you this, which is not the main topic of this video at all, but it was quite amusing to me. And it's about yesterday's meeting, about Figo with Florentino, who they said did not get along and such. Figo already explained once that he talked with Florentino about that issue, about the audios, and that they met. Well, they appreciate each other, and and watch out. Figo is against the Super League, and well, there is a good relationship between them. You can disagree on many things. And at the same time, there is a good relationship. Speaking of the Superliga, Marca is saying, today, Anas Lagari, this wealthy Moroccan, who is an important pillar of the Super League and a supporter for Florentino and many more things, which I am not going to go into. Let's see the influence of this man at Real Madrid. It seems to be a lot. He would want Klopp and not Xabi Alonso. I don't think so, because I believe the club has already leaned towards Xabi Alonso. Yesterday we mentioned in the second to last video, well, what Fernando Caro said, right? The CEO of the German club Leverkusen, who, well, that Xavi had asked them that if one of the teams he had coached arrived, Real Sociedad, Real Madrid, Bayern and Liverpool, there was a gentleman's agreement among them for him to leave in a friendly and smooth manner, and it could be do. I think it will happen, and we'll see. And hopefully before the Club World Cup, so that Xavi is there. If not, it would be understood and there would be an interim. But all this has been mentioned already. That's precisely why they were asking Figo here at the Laureus Awards yesterday, where Madrid, by the way, Madrid was the best team of the year. These awards, I covered one many years ago with Radio, not Radio Marca, with Marca TV, the now extinct and defunct Marca TV. Well, they are what they are. It's a bit of a party there that has little, well, they are they call them the Oscars of sports, but, well, meh. They were here on the red carpet. They asked Figo, and he says this.
Many people believe that Barca is the favorite for the cup final. Do you see it? No. Look, come, President, there. You can ask him, call him to come. President, can you ask him in unison? President?
Florentino Perez is coming.
They are asking about Ancelotti. This is Luis Figo, in case you don't know him. President, how do you see the season?
Florentino does this a lot, huh? He arrives with when they asked him about Mbappe, signing Mbappe, he would say, who is that? I mean, he often confuses the opponent like that. Well, anyway, then he ignored everyone because he hasn't spoken to a journalist in a long time, and here he put Figo in a little bind. But it turned out well, to be honest. It turned out... Right, let's go with the topic of bandages. You'll have been seeing since Flick has been there. Basically, since Flick has been there. These images of footballers from Real, from Barcelona, bandaged, with his wrist bandaged. Lamine Yamal, Lewandowski, this about De Jong is from much earlier, right? By the way, no, Flick wasn't there because that Harlequin kit of Barca's was from quite some time ago. Gavi, I'm not saying that in some cases they haven't had some issue there, but wow, it repeats a lot, right? Rafinha is constantly bandaged, both hands, both wrists. We've already seen Lamine Yamal. Well, Lewandowski is and the other day Pau Victor, right? The other day also Pau Victor. Okay, up to this point, since we don't have much information, and I don't want to venture into things that, could get me in trouble, I'm just going to read little things. Let's read little things. By the way, this is very funny. Back in the day when Goretzka was a skinny guy, and then he became, well, like a bodybuilder trained by Flick. When Bayern wins the Champions League in the year of the pandemic, when they scored 8 against Barca, which was a machine, a brutal steamroller, it says here the goal by Paulinho, this one, Manu, this one who is another troll from Twitter, was 100% fake. It makes no sense. They have no qualms about these things. And Manker, who I really like, honestly, is not the same as this other one, not at all. Manker, besides, has a face and eyes, and is a guy, I think, well, he is sensible, although, well, he also has his things naturally, right? And he said, is to think badly without joking is not normal. Okay. Well, today, this, by the way, this conversation apparently was, it's already deleted and someone took a screenshot and rescued it, but, well, these things happen. Okay. Lucas Asimasta de una simple, which I believe Santi Calvisida does here, a simple search on ChatGPT. You ask about the growth hormone and anabolic androgenic steroids and the effect it has on the wrist. I insist, I'm reading things I haven't written. This man has searched on ChatGPT. Okay? You search, it increases muscle mass and recovery in the case of growth hormone. Doping is prohibited. By the way, they gave this to Messi at a very young age, but anyway. The effect on the wrist, it can cause carpal tunnel syndrome with pain, numbness, or weakness in the wrist and hand. Anabolic androgenic steroids, sorry. Use Catasil is to increase the strength and muscle mass. Doping, clearly prohibited. Their effect on the wrist, they can indirectly cause joint problems because muscles grow faster than tendons, and this can create stress on joints like both the wrist. I don't know if this is entirely true or not. Maybe a doctor comes and tells me, but what are you saying? I'm not saying anything. I'm reading, okay? Because there is a lot of talk about this. It's a topic that you have to go to social media for. Because in the press, there's nothing. There was an article the other day by Catalan press where they called it the Fantasy team or something like that, but they only talked about issues, that they had in their wrists. Okay, and now comes the big part. The report has a thread of tweets from footballgate.com, test comparators, I think it's also on their page. Clostable, trophodermin, and a bandage, the new doping method among the athletes. I insist, I am reading this thread of tweets from footballgate.com. Clostebol is a synthetic anabolic steroid derived from testosterone and is on the list of prohibited substances by the World Anti-Doping Agency. Its use increases muscle mass and strength and reduces recovery time. More, the Italian tennis player. This was very talked about. Jack Sinner tested positive for Clostebol during a doping control. How did he avoid a major sanction? Contamination, cut on the hand, and bandaging. The tennis player claimed to have been contaminated by the trophodermin gel used by his physiotherapist, Giacomo. Naldi had cut his hand and applied an ointment that contained Clostebol. Later, when massaging Sinner, he accidentally contaminated him. Here, for example, Kyrgios, Sinner's companion, was ranting in those days saying, they're pulling our leg. Remember that nothing happened to Sinner. He was the number one in the world. I don't know if there was a small sanctions. I don't remember right now the sanction that was exactly, but there was a scandal in tennis and it touched on other sports because for example, people from cycling said, when this happens to us, the penalties are brutal, and it happened to the number one tennis player in the world, and it's not equivalent at all, right? In Italy, a cream that contains Clostebol is sold without a prescription. That contains Clostebol. Yes, the substance is called Clostebol, right? Because here it says now Clostebol, but trophodermin. Between 2019 and 2023, more than 30 athletes, including several footballers, tested positive for Clostebol in Italy and claimed to have used trophodermin or other similar medications. Well, Coincidentally, in 2022, the Argentine footballer for Atalanta, José Luis Palomino, tested positive for this anabolic steroid and was immediately suspended before being cleared less than 4 months later, justifying the use of the healing ointment. The Spanish athlete Laura Barquero tested positive for clostebol. In her defense, she argued that the substance was administered through the use of trofodermin, an ointment she used to treat a cut on the hand. They are all cuts on the hand, and they are all bandages on the wrist, etc. Victor Conte, a doctor involved in the Balco scandal, said that testosterone applied in gels was eliminated so quickly from the body that baseball players administered it daily, developing their muscles and increasing hemoglobin, and yet did not test positive. Though how many athletes resort to doping with clostebol and justify it by claiming the use of medications like trofodermin? Or do they simply apply large amounts of that gel or spray? Some soccer players might even claim injuries on their hands as a preventive excuse against a potential positive doping test. I repeat, some football players could even claim hand injuries as a preventive excuse for a possible positive anti-doping test. The journalist Diego Buenos Finos, I don't know if that's his last name, because he is a health journalism specialist, otherwise it would be a coincidence, but well, he's someone who exists, claims that it's suspected this substance might serve as a method to mask the use of other more potent steroids. Professor Fritz Sorgel, an expert in doping, said on Sport 1, athletes testing positive will continue to be excused based on similar excuses, and clostebol will continue circulating indefinitely if firm measures are not taken. It is a topic that is on the table. It's not that strange. Look, the issue with the bandages, what a coincidence that some claim those injuries on their hands, and so on. And well, I go back to what I said at the beginning. The performance of some soccer players this year is very striking compared to last year. And I am talking here about data and about clear findings, right? Barca this year is physically much better than last year. It could be that the arrival of a coach like Flick and his team or his staff, which has to do with physical preparation, might have improved that, which also surely they work more than with Xavi. But then there's suspicion and the confirmation also that it is the team with the most wrist bandages. Look, they have been seen during this year. From there, draw your own conclusions, okay? I haven't said anything. These are things that are seen and read. So, all the best. Give it a like if you enjoyed this video, subscribe to the channel, please comment, share, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye.